What's up guys and welcome back. One of my favorite new things having to do with the Star Wars universe is looking up various explanations from Dave Filoni, co-creator of Star Wars The Clone Wars and a huge contributor to this new era of Star Wars, including things such as The Mandalorian and far more. Today, I wanted to talk about how Dave Filoni portrayed and actually explained Order 66 in The Clone Wars, as well as how he explained it to various actors such as D. Baker, the voice of the clones in the Clone Wars series, and what it was meant to represent in the Clone Wars, from the clones' point of view as well as from characters' point of view such as Ahsoka Tano. Obviously, with that said, there will be spoilers in this video for the last few episodes of Star Wars The Clone Wars, so please go watch those before continuing. In the Clone Wars is really when we got to see what Order 66 was like from the viewpoint of the clone troopers. Unlike Revenge of the Sith and other media, the clones are not instantly portrayed as the enemy. Rather, it's far more sympathetic from Ahsoka's point of view. These are her friends that she's literally grown up besides, and so killing them outright is not an option. The first thing Dave Filoni talks about is how he wanted to portray Order 66 as a longer event. In the films and other media, you see Jedi going down nearly instantaneously, betrayed and killed by the clone troopers, but Dave Filoni talked about how in other instances he believed that it was much more prolonged, and that there was sort of a cat and mouse game between the surviving Jedi and the clone troopers, and how Ahsoka was a good point of view as somebody that actually survived the first strike and betrayal of the clones. Dave Filoni also mentions that Rex does know of a possibility of Order 66 through his encounter with Fives in the previous seasons, when Fives actually uncovered the plot behind the Great Jedi Purge, which is why Rex can instantly identify what is going on, and is able to warn Ahsoka, something that we'll talk about a little more in depth later in the video. Now for the highlight of this video, I would like to talk about what D. Baker said concerning Order 66, as he actually addressed something major and a change to Order 66. In Star Wars Legends, it was pretty much explained that the clone troopers followed Order 66 because of their allegiance to a greater power in the Republic, and when the Republic became the Empire, an allegiance to Palpatine. Here though, it is explained as an organic chip that takes away most of one's free will, not all, as we saw with Rex here. In canon, we actually see Rex struggling with the idea of Order 66, as he's able to warn Ahsoka, this actually being quite the significant change to canon, as previously it was described as an automatic switch, a switch that for some reason Rex was able to hold off momentarily. Now we can explain multiple reasons as to exactly why this is. The first being, since Rex is from one of the first ever batches of clone troopers, it makes sense that the more attachments he makes, the longer he may be able to hold out Order 66, and the fact that he actually knows of this greater idea behind Order 66, so that when the switch within his mind happens, he is actually able to identify what it is and stave it off, if even momentarily. However, D. Baker has some very interesting thoughts on this. D. Baker explains that Rex for a time was able to stave off the Order, however, that it's an inevitability, and that it was literally programmed into the very being of Captain Rex, and that Order 66 is not something that can be overcome out of pure free will, confirming yet another thing in Star Wars, that again, a clone trooper cannot simply choose not to follow Order 66 because of some deep connection they shared with a Jedi. It is literally something that is impossible to overcome, meaning all clone troopers that survived Order 66 either had their clone trips removed or they were previously damaged, and that none of the surviving clones that we see in Rebels actually managed to disobey Order 66 out of sheer will, something that's been pretty unclear until this point in time. So this is actually a pretty big change and an important change to the mythos of Star Wars, specifically this era. Dave Filoni would later go on to explain that the way that he literally shot and lighted the episode was meant to signify the transition from the Republic to the Empire, how the clone troopers literally move, as they seem to become droid-like themselves. The age of the Republic is over, and the age of the Stormtrooper and the Empire has begun. The clones literally move differently as a result of this, something that I found exceptionally interesting. Anyway, my friends, what are your thoughts on these explanations from Dave Filoni, as well as D. Baker specifically, and the major canon changes that we get to witness here because of Order 66, and because of the rise of the Galactic Empire? Again, I just really like the idea that Order 66 placed within the clone troopers' minds is something that they cannot overcome out of free will. It's something that they're forced to follow, which is why they they become far more droid-like, and lose almost all of the humanity that they gained over the course of the war. Something that Clone Wars did that I thought really illustrated the end of the war was the fact that the loss of the clones is almost just as big a deal as the loss of the Jedi, something that we really didn't get to see in Revenge of the Sith, but something that's illustrated perfectly here through visuals, and Ahsoka deciding to bury her fallen comrades. Again though, my friends, I would love to hear your thoughts and interpretations on the final few episodes of the Clone Wars, as well as Order 66. Also, based on my analytics, a lot of you guys haven't subscribed yet, so if you're interested in more Star Wars content and keeping up to date with Star Wars, why not hit that subscribe button? As always, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.